I suppose a lot of the Japanese football fans, do they support Celtic? Am I right in thinking there's quite a lot of Japanese players that go to Celtic? Have I got that right?
日本人のファンは、多分、もちろん、その日本人の選手がいっぱいいるからなんだと思うんですけど、なんか、セルティックのファンが多いんですかって、日本は。
全然ですよね。マジで全然。そんな
にない
スコティッシュ見ないですね。スコティッシュ見ないです、みんな。
Yeah, not too many.
Oh, right. I don't know why I thought that.
We've got Paul, NFFC Scotland branch. Big shout out to Paul in Scotland. You'd like that. You're Scottish, half Scottish.
Fully Scottish, depending on how you consider those things. But I'm arguably English, arguably Scottish. I'm not half because both my parents are Scottish. But I've got an English accent. I was born in Nottingham, from the UK. I'm from planet Earth.
Give a shout out to Paul.
Is it my dad? My dad's called Paul from Scotland.
It's not your dad, and guess what? He's Irish, this guy, Paul. He just happens to be in Scotland. Woo! And we're moving on to Wayne, who we mentioned last week, who is in Singapore. He said, have been a Red for 36 years in Singapore. I've gone through all the ups and downs, like many of you being a Forest fan. Exciting season so far, just enjoying where we are now. Give a shout out to Wayne again, but he just wrote back. Give it to him.
Yeah, shout out. I remember last week you asked me if I'd ever heard of Singapore.
I'm on mute for
that.
Sorry, no, I didn't.
About the
no, I didn't. I said, have you ever heard of a Forest fan in Singapore? Don't twist the narrative. Anyway,
I've heard of a Forest fan from Japan.
And that is who is next. We've got Taku, Taku. I think it's Taku is how it's pronounced. 28 years old, from Japan. Big shout out to Taku, who is coming on this podcast in a few minutes to talk about being a Forest fan and going to the Ipswich game this weekend, which I'm also going to. And really quick, before we bring Taku on, this weekend was a bit of a shambles against Arsenal. We'll talk a little bit about Steve Cooper sacking after. Hang on.
I was listening to last. Yeah.
I was just going to say, we're going to talk about Steve Cooper sacking after Taku comes on, because I have a lot to say about that. I have a lot to say about the delusional Leicester fans. And yeah, we'll just talk about the Arsenal thing. What were you saying there about the Arsenal game? Sorry, cut you off.
Well, I listened back to our episode from last week today, or a bit of it, and it got so nauseating I had to turn it off. But you were so confident.
You listened to some of our episode and got.
You were so.
Hang on a second. You listened to the episode of ours and you got nauseated. Was it primarily by me or by yourself, Matt?
I was listening to what you were saying about how confident you were about Forest were going to be all right against Arsenal. I wanted to somehow clip it and prep it for this episode, but I couldn't. But just from your gloating from previous weeks, where you've landed on your feet with some predictions and ruined the fun for a lot of us that just want to enjoy Forest without you making it about you. And listening to you confidently talking about how after a negative display out against Newcastle, we go in hard. And you thought that we could do something against Arsenal. I admire your optimism, but I think the proof was in the pudding when I sort of was trying to bring you down to earth and say, look, mate, this is Arsenal. They're a team full of elites. And Saka and Odegaard gave us a spanking, let's be honest.
I'm really, really annoyed by your absolute nonsense there. Sorry about the delay, everyone. I was on mute for a second there, just messaging our guest, who is slightly delayed, but they will be in time. I'm already fed up. Like, this is, sorry, for everyone listening, if there's a very small portion of this podcast listenership that likes some of Matt's little jibes and digs and nonsense and negativity, well, you're welcome to it today, because he loves the blame game, and we get to play the blame game again this week for Matt. Give a bit of yippee if you want to play the blame game this week. That's what Matt wants to play.
James Ward-Prowse. It's going to be James Ward-Prowse. We all know it.
Shut up. The problem is, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone who's a Forest fan, Matt absolutely loves to play these little blame games, have a bit of negativity. And, if ever there's a nugget of negativity in your life, he will peel it out and find it for you. So, yeah, look, Matt, this is Matt's podcast, apart from our wonderful guest who's coming on. But part of this is Matt's podcast because he's going to love the negativity. So, why don't we just, without further ado, just hit the music, Matt. Just hit the bloody music and we'll do your...
Well, no, hang on. Talking of the music for the blame game. Hang on, give me your thoughts on the Arsenal game. Now I've just we've opened on that. Then we'll talk about blame game because we've got some issues with the music. We've got to present a new tune, which I find very sad, but we've got a solution. We'll get to that. Talk to me about Arsenal, because once we've talked about it, we're going to move on from it and forget about it.
Right.
Your
well,
confidence, your bubble must have been burst. Your bubble must have been burst.
No. Elliot Anderson and Morgan Gibbs-White are key players, right? We've no outball. So if you don't have a number 10, every game this season we've been playing with the 10, such as Anderson or Gibbs-White. One of them has played the 10. There's been probably one game that I'm probably forgetting where we didn't do that. I don't know if it was when we played sort of the 4-4-2-ish thing against Fulham, but even then we kind of had a bit of an outball. And well, Gibbs-White wasn't playing that game, was he? But anyway, point being, most games we have an outball, and most of the time it works. Gibbs-White wasn't really right against Newcastle, it seems, and he's injured, obviously carrying a couple of knocks, so he didn't have his best game there. We didn't have Anderson or Gibbs-White today, and it proved, or not today, sorry, the other day against Arsenal, and it proved fatal. So that's the biggest issue. When you're losing your two number 10s, I think in that position, we probably have to just play Jota Silva in the 10 or someone else in that position for the ball, someone technical who can pick up the ball in the field. You can't play Ward-Prowse, Yates, and Dominguez together. You just can't. It just doesn't work. And
so how come you know
anyway,
that? And how do you know that and Nuno doesn't, out of interest?
Well, I think Nuno probably trusted the three players. Basically, he still wanted to have Jota Silva as an option from the bench to come off and play on that wing position. So he trusted the next best thing, which was putting Yates slightly higher and pressing a bit, not as a number 10. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, and then having Dominguez and Ward-Prowse in there. So he trusted that, okay? Probably had to...
Yeah, that first game when Danilo went off, Yates was really good going forward, but that probably was his best ever game going forward in terms of momentum, wasn't it? But
well, he was also in the number 8 position as well, so he wasn't in the 10, so to speak. And I'm not saying he was in the 10 necessarily, but he was a little bit higher in this game. So look, I just think we missed the outball big time. And if we don't have Gibbs-White and we don't have Anderson, just play someone else technical in that position. Jota Silva will do. I mean, even Sosa could probably do a job there. I just think you got to play someone fairly technical in that spot to give an outball for the two midfielders, so that we can get something going, because we just looked really lackluster going forward, and I was really disappointed. What else? Moreno got absolutely done by Saka, a couple of times.
I think he was like overly... Well, not just him. I think we've been overly confident since his good game against Salah, but I think Liverpool's lack of form that day took everyone, including Forest, by surprise, and has lulled us into a false sense of confidence, potentially. Because we didn't look great against the teams at the beginning of the season that we drew against, that we'd rather have beaten: Wolves, Bournemouth. We didn't look great against Fulham. We've looked pretty poor against Newcastle and Arsenal. Suddenly, Golden Boys Forest are turning into, we are seventh.
No, just shut up.
What?
Shut up.
What?
So you're giving me the suddenly Golden Boys far. Like, what are you talking about? You harp on about the Bournemouth game. We had spells in that game where we did very well. Okay, you harp on about the Wolves game. Sure, we played badly. Shut up for a second. I'm talking. Right? You harp on about the You harp on about the Bournemouth game. You harp on about the Wolves game. You keep going on about those games, but you skip the 3 games in a row that we won. One against Palace, one away at Leicester, one against West Ham. 3 very good performances. I just think you need to just cool the jets. I'm sorry that we didn't beat Newcastle at home. I'm sorry that we didn't beat Arsenal away. I'm really, really sorry. Okay?
Or Bournemouth at home, or Wolves at home, or Fulham at home.
Yeah, but what's the problem? But what?
There's no problem. We're 7th in the league and it's great. But Chris, we have to talk. I've said this to you before, probably even on the last episode. So sorry for repeating ourselves so soon to anyone that listens to us more than once. But Chris,
not many people. Probably.
If we just sit here and go, it's fine, because we're in dreamland. Let's just turn off. We can just come back when we're relegated, if you like. I mean, I'm not trying to be negative. You call it that, but I'm just gonna great, we're 7th, and it doesn't matter then. Why do you even watch the games?
What?
Football is a game of being in the moment. We've achieved some greatness. You want to maintain it. You wanted to see some magic. It's so boring if we go, well, yeah, City and Liverpool and Arsenal belong at the top, and Wolves and Forest and Everton will scrap it out at the bottom with whoever's gotten promoted. Isn't it just a bit more magical and exciting if Forest do change the narrative, as Leicester have done in the past, as Aston Villa are trying to do, as Newcastle have done in recent years? It's great. And we can dream of Forest.
We still are changing the narrative. We're still in 7th, right? We've lost.
No, but I'm saying that I think that we're getting a whiff actually from our general play. When I talk about negative results, of course we've done really well in other ones, but I'm just pointing out that there is that other people have talked about like that Forest thing. You know, when people talk about Spurs being Spursy and it's Forest in it, so that anxiety's there. All of those things are true, but in addition to that, we aren't. We just don't seem that threatening aside. We look like quite easy to be found out. Now we've sort of surprised a few, but let's see. Blame game time. Then we can move on and meet this really fascinating guest from Japan, a Forest fan from Japan. It is exciting to me. We have not met someone from that far away for a while, probably since Hawaii, South Africa, or something like that. Now, blame game time. We have sadly got to drop that cool music that we used to play.
Why? Why do we have to drop the cool music, Matt? Because something I always told you the whole way through this, and you always thought I was just lying because I'm paranoid and superstitious. Tell everyone why.
Because we don't make any money out of this, and whoever composed it doesn't want us to.
No, it's because I said to Matt, every bit of music or everything you throw in the podcast, make sure that it's not copyrighted or won't get flagged. The Blame Game music has been flagged on YouTube. It wasn't necessarily flagged in the audio episodes, but it's been flagged on YouTube. I reach out to Matt, Matt goes, that's a shame. It's a shame for him that I have to stay up trying to figure out how to make this work without it. Anyway, we figured it out at the time. Matt has now told me he's going to get some new music composed by a friend of ours, Al, who's an absolute legend. Right? Am I right, Matt? Am I right?
You're right. Well, I've asked him, and if he's got time, he's going to try and oblige. He's a very talented composer and musician, and he's got the setup to do it. But come on. But in the meantime, we've got 3 tracks that I've uploaded for you to play with today. Let's hear them and pick one.
Are they copyrighted? Are they copyrighted?
No, I bought them. I pay my license for my post-production stuff, so I've got them off that site. They're all licensed, but they're all rubbish.
Well,
so
hit the music.
This is just temporary for today. No, you can see they've got 3.
Don't call them rubbish if there's someone else's music, right? And that we're going to use it.
They're licensed. We can do what we like with them.
But my point is, you shouldn't call it rubbish because it's someone else's music. It's not nice.
They're rubbish for what we're doing.
You're rubbish. Hit the music. Let's see. Sorry, what the hell was that? Is that one that you chose?
Get into it. You need to let it get into it.
Okay, we'll let it get into it.
Yeah, it feels more like a...
No, actually, I like it now. I'm the opposite. It's gone funky for me.
Fickle.
Good work. Fickle. You're the most fickle fan alive.
I think it could be right for us, but it's not right for Blame Game. Let's hear the next one.
Right, go. Next one. Slow start.
Give it a chance.
I'm trying. Yeah.
Give it a chance.
What is this? This isn't a romance.
Secret. I want to write you a song. A little bit like this.
You're my forest friend.
It's called Nottingham Forest.
Till the end.
Oh, he's not listening.
I love you.
Okay, cut that. You've ruined that for me.
How have I ruined it? You've ruined them all. Next one.
Kind of the right vibe.
Right.
Let's use this for today. Let's play Blame Game for this today. Okay, pause it. We'll start it again. We're going to do Blame Game to that one today. That's got to be the one for today, right?
That's the one for Blame Game for today. We're doing that. Leap of Faith, it's called. Alex Alexander. Fair play to you. Another one's the originals, Freedom and Campagna. I love like this. Thought we'd just mention their names there, Matt. Mention their names, even though you've licensed it. It's in the description. Right, we're going to go with Alex Alexander.
Leap of Faith. Let's go with the Blame Game.
Hit music.
James Ward-Prowse. I only watched the highlights and I saw that in every goal he had a reason, a part to play in the demise of Forest for each Arsenal goal, and I thought he looked atrocious, especially for 2 of them, not closing down, and looked weak. So I'm going for James Ward-Prowse as the first hat in the ring.
I'm going for Moreno. Saka destroyed him. I don't know if Hudson-Odoi wasn't helping back enough. I don't know if Saka was too good, but it made it look too easy. It was really frustrating. And at one point I was like, well, we just put 5 at the back and stick Morello left back to cover Saka, because Saka was just carving us apart that first half. They should have had 3 or 4 goals first half. And yeah, Moreno for me there. Who's next on your list?
That's not Moreno's fault, though. It's not Moreno's fault. That's what
Who's next on your list?
Well, you've got to put Sells in there. You've got to put Sells in there for that third
The
goal.
jacket's bumping off the microphone.
I've seen a few goals recently where he's going the wrong way first. Now, maybe that I'm no goalkeeper, but perhaps that's.
Sells isn't to blame, man. Let's be real about it. Look, James Ward-Prowse went missing, went hiding. Moreno didn't have a good game at all. I personally am giving it to Moreno. You're probably giving it to James Ward-Prowse. Who do you think wins the blame game? I'll let you decide.
Ryan Yates?
No, we're not picking Ryan Yates. Fine, pick James Ward-Prowse. James Ward-Prowse is the winner. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. You have come to
What about Alanga and Hudson-Odoi for their constant lack of aggression, competence when at the absolute top level that we need them to be?
Yeah, I don't know, mate. Look, I think that Alanga was pretty poor. He did go off at half time.
It's James Ward-Prowse. It's James Ward-Prowse.
Ward-Prowse. That's who it is. He probably won't start the next game.
Nice music. Nice temporary filler music. We're sorry we've lost the normal tune. We've got something special coming soon.
Okay, perfect. Grant, you've frozen there a little bit. Now you're back. That's fine. I'm going to let Taku come in now. Our guest from Japan, NFFC Japan, which is amazing. This is amazing. Step away from the microphone a little bit so that you don't tap it too much. I will mute you on occurrences, not just because I need to do technical things, but also because you talk absolute rubbish. Let's welcome our guest, Taku.
Hello.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Sorry.
Konnichiwa.
Time over, sorry.
No problem. It's okay. It's okay. No problem. Ko's coming in now. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Oh,
Ko, how are you?
Good.
Ko, you speak fluent Japanese?
So, I've lived in the UK for nearly 20 years. I've lived in Nottingham for a couple of years for uni.
Okay.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, that's how I became Forest fan, and I've got the Nottingham Forest Japanese supporters account on X. That's how I met Taku.
Oh, cool. Taku's going to the Ipswich game this weekend. And Taku's been to a couple of games before, am I right in saying that? Arsenal game recently or anything like that?
so this.
Yeah, so the last game against Arsenal was the first time for him.
Wow.
Tough game to go to. 3-0.
Sorry.
まあ、すごい難しい試合だったから。
As I understand it, Taku has just flown into Manchester especially for these games, or has he been here before?
ロンドンに着いて2日前からマンチェスターに来て、2日後にはロンドンに戻りますと。で、30と1日はノッティンガムに行きます。
2 days ago, he arrived in London and then moved to Manchester, and he's gonna see some games, and then he's gonna be in Nottingham. He's got his own contents. He's got his own YouTube and stuff, and he wanted to sort of contribute, connecting, Japanese football fans who follow, especially Premier League and Forest.
He's coming because wants to send out appeal to Japanese Premier League fans, and by the sounds of things, specifically for Forest, but also we're interested in why and how Taku even got interested in Forest. You said yourself that you came to university in Nottingham, which makes sense, but we'd be really interested to hear what it is in Taku's life, that how it came to be a team that he even liked and then supported, and then we can move on to what he's doing with his YouTube channel.
So, まあ、タクさん、まず今回今10年ぐらい応援してるって言ってますけど、そのきっかけは何だったんですか？
きっかけは、ゲームで知って、そこから歴史を自分で調べるようになって、ゲームで、もう一度チャンピオンズリーグを3連覇するまでっていうのをこう毎作ずっと10年やってきて愛着が湧いたっていう感じです。
それはFIFA ですか？
最初 Wii ですね。
He was playing some football game. I think, is it PES? I'm not sure what it was called in English.
Yeah, Pro Evo Soccer, I think.
Yeah, not FIFA one.
Pro Evolution Soccer. Pro Evolution Soccer, definitely. I've played it,
yeah. And then he wanted to win Champions League 3 times. He just played Nottingham Forest, and then gradually he got sort of attached to the club, and then started following them.
How did he pick Nottingham Forest on Pro Evolution Soccer?
そのゲームで、なんでフォレストを選んだんですか？
古豪復活っていうのが自分がすごいなんか燃えるというか、フォレストの歴史がすごい好きだったって感じですね。自分に合ってたっていう。
He particularly liked the club because of the history.
Right.
He liked the story idea of like, okay, maybe not as as strong as they used to be when they won the Champions Cup, but he wants to see the club coming back.
He's pointing at the 2 stars for audio listeners. Taku's pointing at the 2 stars because he knows that that's the history. And actually, Matt, just really quickly on this one, a lot of the fans from different parts of the world have come on from USA or China, generally who've come on this, South Africa, New Zealand, all over the place, have said the exact same thing, that it's the history, and then they deep rooted in the history, went into the Brian Clough story, and that's kind of how they like going for. So it's great to hear Taku all the way from Japan is following the same sort of suit. It's pretty amazing, actually.
I went to Japan in 2006 for a month, and I stayed in Nagoya in a family home to watch the World Cup. Was it a 2006 World Cup? It was. And did you have Nakamura playing then for Japan?
Yeah, was that Germany World Cup?
Yes, it was Germany.
The Germany World Cup was 2006, and then 2002 was South Korea, I think.
Yeah, Korea and Japan.
Japan, yeah.
Does Taku think that there's many Forest fans in Japan now? Is he the only one? And I don't mean like people from Nottingham that have moved out there to do whatever. I mean, do you think there's much of an understanding of Nottingham Forest and fans growing out there, or is it still a long way to go?
でも大学生とか特に、増えてきてはいますね、本当に。それはもうコウさんの発信と、あとナックさんのお二人の活躍だと。もう本当にそれ伝えてください。
The younger generations, he's noticed like uni students and younger generations, they started following Forest, and he said, because of my account, some other old faces, it's definitely influencing. So I think he's been very polite towards me.
Arigato.
Is this your first game at the City Ground? Obviously, his first game was against Arsenal, so this must be the first home game. Am I right in saying that, Cole?
クリスさんは今度のイプスウィッチ戦行く予定なんですけど、おそらくそのホーム、シティグラウンド、初めてのシティグラウンドになりますよね、たくさんにとって。
Yes.
Okay. Well, my first ever football match, Forest match in the City Ground, or my first ever Forest match was against Ipswich nearly 30 years ago. So tell Taku, I'm looking forward to meeting Taku at this game as we share something in common now.
その30年前に初めてシティグラウンドに行ったんですね。クリスさんは。その初めてフォレストの試合見た時の相手がイプスウィッチ戦で、だから彼にとっては結構思い出のある試合で、そこでタクさんにも会えたら嬉しいみたいな感じですね。
ぜひぜひ会いたいです。
Yes, he'd love to meet. Yeah, he's looking forward to meeting you.
What are you most looking forward to and talk about this Saturday, other than the game and hopefully seeing a win? But who's your favourite player? Are you looking forward to hearing the atmosphere and the songs? Have you heard those before, or is that something you can only experience in the ground? I'd be really interested to hear Taku's thoughts on that.
これは確定事項じゃないんですけど、なんか試合前にすぐにシティグラウンドに来てくれっていう DM がさっき来たんですよ。
はい。
なんかマネージャーかなんかの人から。それが
マネージャー
なんかでも確定じゃないから喋んない方がいいか。いいや、ちょっとそれは置いときます。あとでちょっとそうですね。普通に 始まる前の歌声がすごい僕は楽しみで仕方ないです。
マロブ・キンタイヤですね。
Yeah.
You probably understood that that's what
He's
he was
looking
looking
forward to
forward
that
to
the
most.
most.
Yeah.
Got you. Oh wow, you're gonna absolutely love it. I'm trying to remember how to say that in Japanese, and it escapes me. It's been a while, but you're gonna love the sense of humour that happens after Mull of Kintyre. You probably heard it at the Arsenal game. When the several thousand people seem to be able to just start singing at the same time, back and forth with the other fan base, the Ipswich fans. I hope that you're able to enjoy that, because it's very much, I can never understand what they're saying anyway, because there's so many people and I speak the language, but it's just the sense of the atmosphere and being around, like as he's mentioned before, the history of the place. I wonder and hope that he gets something out of that.
試合前のそのマロブ・キンタイヤもそうですし、そのサポーター同士のやりとり、これはあんまり日本人サポーターでは、ちょっと自分も日本のサッカーの方逆にあんまり詳しくないですけど、そのサポーター同士のやりとりが結構あるんですね。そのアウェーファンとホームファンでこう言い合うみたいな、そのちゃんとを言いながら、そういうのも含めた雰囲気とかも楽しめたらいいですね。
勉強しに行きます。
He's gonna study all the chanting.
Who's Taku's favorite player? Who's his favorite? Who's he enjoying the most last season and this season?
Gives away.
ここ最近で一番好きなフォレストの選手は誰ですか
？Yes.
Yates. Ryan Yates.
Oh, wow. Oh, yes. He loves the hometown
Ryan
hero.
Yates.
Why does he love Ryan Yates so much?
なぜですか、それは。
去年よりかなり一番上手くなってると思ってます。サッカーが。
So he thinks compared to last season, he's most improved player.
Right. Yeah, good shout.
He likes his passion as well, I imagine. The passion and strength that Yates brings to the team.
その彼の情熱というかパッションとかその強さも見せてくれますよね。
Yes.
I don't know if Taku's heard this before, Ko, this podcast, and there's no expectation that he has. But we do this thing weekly when Forest do badly, and it's called the blame game. It's to this stupid music. We started putting silly animations on our voices on YouTube.
It's very stupid.
And the winner is the person who was the worst player in the game. It's the blame game, so it's who gets the blame. Now, Ryan Yates is just, as when you hear this episode back, you'll hear that I offered Ryan Yates' name up as the winner, but Chris very quickly came in and told me to shut up. It was definitely not his fault. So Taku will be pleased to hear that Ryan Yates is not the winner of the blame game this week.
このポッドキャストの中で、試合に負けた時とかは、誰が一番良くなかった選手か、みたいな。で、ちょっと、コミカルな感じだと思うんですけど、で、それで、イエイツが選ばれたりするんですけど、それ選んだ時に、クリスさんとかはもう猛反対してたから、タクさんと同じ意見ですね。
Ko, are you going to the game this weekend as well, or is it?
I've not met Taku, in person, so we try and arrange the meeting, but unfortunately I haven't got the ticket, so but I might still go. Yeah.
Well, for anyone who's listening, if anyone has a spare ticket for Ko, if you're still going, if you're able to, maybe someone will reach out and we can maybe. I don't know. We should get a few listeners, so we'll see how that goes.
Before we sign off, where can we find your YouTube channel and see?
Yeah, any plugs or shout outs that Taku wants to do for his YouTube channel or his Twitter page or whatever, go ahead.
あとの YouTube の名前とか。
フットボールトップ TV。フットボール、これ打っとけばいいかな。
Well, either way, we'll put the stuff in the description. So,
okay.
We'll put his X. He's put Football Top TV. I think is what he's put in the notes.
Yeah, that's the YouTube channel.
That's the YouTube channel, Football Top TV, and we'll put your X and your YouTube channel in the description, so everyone who's watching can see on YouTube. And then we'll put it in the description on the audio as well on Spotify and Apple and all that. So it'll be in the description. So that's great. This has been something that that Matt has been asking me to do for a long time. Is we've got lots of different guests from around the world, but he's always wanted someone, you know, maybe even a translator to come in and it'd be a bit different. So this is a really proper Forest All Over the World episode. And before you go, I can't have you leave without giving your score prediction and who you think is going to score the goals for us if you predict us to score. What's your score prediction for the weekend's game?
2-0 ですかね。
2-0.
2-0.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
realised what knee is. Knee is 2, isn't it? Ichi
Yes.
ni san. Is that right?
2-0. 2-0.
守
2-0.
備の守備の力を取り戻してほしいって伝えてください。
He wants solid defense back.
All right, solid defense. So he wants the clean sheet. You want the clean sheet and no goals conceded. And Taku, really quickly, Taku. Who is it? Who's scoring the goals?
イエーツとアンダーソンで。
Yates and Anderson.
I love it. I love it. That's what it's all about, Taku. History, the 2 stars above our crest. You're an absolute legend. Thank you so much for coming along.
I think people are going to enjoy hearing how to say some of those names from a Japanese perspective. I think he said, was that Anderson? He said.
Anderson.
Anderson. And Yates is just Yates?
Yates, yeah.
Yates.
Yes.
Same
I love it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
class.
I mean, Ko,
Right.
arigato, we have to thank you so much for all your
Arigato.
translating.
ありがとう。
Arigato.
Thank you.
Kodashimashite.
Arigato. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Oh,
Great.
yes, I can see it. This is class. For the audio listeners, Taku is holding up a big flag saying NFFC Japan, I think. Is that right?
Yes, yeah.
これで
Brilliant.
多分見つけられると思うんで。
So yeah, so that everyone can find them easily.
Brilliant.
On the
Yes,
match
I-
day,
I,
yeah.
I don't think we'll miss him with that big flag. That's absolutely class.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Sayonara.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Sayonara.
That's Taku. He's
That
going
was
to be at
quite-
the Ipswich game this weekend. NFFC Japan, Ko as well. Hopefully he gets a ticket. It was just such a cool experience. We have to thank Taku for coming on.
We have to thank Taku for his time, but also Kochan there for his services as a translator. That's a lot of brain work, especially dealing with me and you. But I have to say, Chris, I was laughing internally at one point. I wonder if some of that's going to be more pleasurable to listen to than me and you flipping going back and forth, you know?
Yeah, it definitely is going to be more interesting in that. And you know what? Look, you tried to squeeze as many blame game references as possible in there, which is just very stereotypical, and that's fine. That's the way you are. You try and chase your own, but that's
the way
okay.
I am. It's what this podcast is about. Sorry if you want to drone
Podcast
on
isn't
about
about the blame
cliche.
game. Podcast,
chat.
it's not cliche. It's not cliche chat. Steve Cooper was sacked, I think yesterday, day before. Don't know, but he was sacked from Leicester City. Do you want to give your immediate thoughts and then I'll give mine, because mine are going to be a little bit different to yours, or maybe the same, but a little more angry anyway.
Well, overall, I think it is really sad for him. The guy is a good guy. I don't know if he lost. He started doing it at Forest before he left. He lost that really good way of being honest in interviews and facing the press, and often looked out of his depth. And I don't think he necessarily needed to be out of his depth, but something got to him about the pressure or the spotlight, and sadly, he wasn't respected by the Leicester team players. And yeah, it's a cruel world. Very cruel for a really nice man who deserves better. And he seems to not get the credit that Kieran McKenna and Graham Potter get. I'd rather have Steve Cooper than Graham Potter. This
I'll tell you what, mate.
Brighton loving is doing my head in. Graham Potter
Well,
isn't taking jobs.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. Let me ask you a couple of questions here, right? Let's say you're a Leicester fan, right? And I'm asking you a couple of questions here. Really basic questions. Because I was talking
Even
to
though you
Greenhill.
are a Leicester fan, but yeah.
What I want to say is I don't really understand what we're doing anymore. Because what's the mission for Steve Cooper this season? Surely it's to keep them out of the relegation zone, which they are still out of the relegation zone. So he's getting sacked while they're outside the relegation zone. They don't play good football. Whoop-de bloody do. Who cares? Who cares? The job is to get the job done. What games have they lost this season? Chelsea, Villa, Man United, Fulham. Who else? A couple other bigger teams. Arsenal. I'm sorry you lost those games, but you weren't expected to win any of those games, Leicester fans. As for Forest, to us beating you, we're pretty good this season, so you shouldn't expect to win that game either. I don't understand why they think that he should have gone. Okay, he lost the dressing room. Fair enough. You lose the players, there's nothing you can do. Tactics, negative, fine. I look at it and go, what is his mission? His mission is to keep them up. With Forest, his mission was to keep us up. He kept us up in a miracle working season, right? And then the season after that, the expectations rose to something more. And after a while, Forest obviously felt like there was enough, but we were still outside the relegation zone again while he was sacked from us. But this time, I'm looking at it going, they were in PSR trouble. They've lost their manager, Maresca. They've lost Dewsbury Hall. They've just come up, they're playing a 38-year-old striker, who's good, by the way, but he's 38. I'm looking at it going, what do you expect, Leicester fans? What do you expect? You might get a manager bounce and do really well now, but at the moment in time, Cooper had you outside the relegation zone, which is surely your mission. Surely that's your mission. But look, he lost the dressing room. I kind of understand it, but I am very disappointed. And Leicester are certainly my rivals again now. Anything else to add?
No. I
Right.
think we get the point.
We do get the point. Next, let's move on to the Ipswich game. I know we spoke a bit about it with Taku, but I want to talk about it between me and you really quickly. Personal moment for me, like I said to Taku there, my first ever Forest game was against Ipswich. I've never seen us play Ipswich since, and now I'm going back this weekend. I'm really excited about it, but I'm apprehensive. They looked really good this weekend against Man United. They haven't lost in 3 games. They beat Spurs away a couple of weeks ago. What are you thinking?
I think this is their time to topple, and I think Nuno knows. God, I've never had to say that before. It feels like a really obvious thing to. Nuno knows, and the players, they have to win. This is a must-win game based on where they've taken us this season and based on the moment. I'm not saying that we're not overachieving. I'm not saying that we can't say it's a must-win game. Of course, it's not literally a must-win game or there's doom and gloom. I'm talking about the momentum of the happiness of the fan base. I'm talking the fact that Taku was flown in from Japan to watch this game. I'm talking about the fact that Ipswich still haven't won a game this season. Oh, no, they have. They beat Spurs. What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter about any of that. This is about Forest turning back, setting on an upward curve again. Because we've got City and United next. Like, we need to win this, Chris.
It's a must-win game. You're right. There's no question about it. Like, we have to win this game. I think the key thing is stopping the rot as well. Because if we lose, then we're going into 3 games in a row lost. Then there's back-to-back away games against United and City, which won't be looking good for us. I know United aren't looking great right now, even with their new manager, but I just think it's really going to be a difficult upwards curve and run of fixtures in December if we end up not taking 3 points from this. And the pressure should help us. Players like Gibbs, White and Anderson, if they're back, they thrive under pressure. We want them back in the team to put the pressure on Ipswich. Ipswich have a couple of really tasty players up top. Hutchinson, Clark off the bench, the lap, Schmodix, I know him from Ireland. He's looking really good these days. But that doesn't mean we don't. I want to see the old Callum Hudson-Odoi back from a few weeks ago.
Just shorten the monologue. Shorten the monologues.
Well, I just sat here and listened to you go on a little monologue on your own there a minute ago, and I let you ride it out to the end. Here's a short monologue for you. I hope that Ipswich lose. I hope we absolutely batter them. I hope that at the end of the game we play Ed Sheeran A-Team, and we're talking about the A-Team being Forest, and the DJ halfway through goes, cuts it off, and suddenly goes, Chris Wood's on fire. Your defense is terrified. That's what I hope
Chris,
happens.
It's been a real pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure. Right,
it's been a real pleasure. Have a great time at Ipswich.
It's been a pleasure for Taku. Taku's a legend. You're an idiot, Matt. Follow us at forestallover on Instagram or at NFFC all over on X. Alternatively, you can go to forestallover.com or follow us at forestallover on YouTube. Please like and subscribe. Anything else to say, Matt?
Sayonara.
Goodbye, everyone. It's been a pleasure.